declining, and we have tapped out the girls. What are we going to do? My argument would be we need to start thinking about prevention to prevent that rise in inequality that we saw before, for all the reasons we've been talking about, not occurring in your generation. How do we do that? Well, first of all, the cure does not look like this. This is the declining share of the federal government, and a target that is lower than anything we've seen since the 1960s in terms of the size of the federal government as a share of the economy. This is not the road to success if you want to invest in the things that are going to prevent growing inequality. So what I'm going to suggest is that we have to invest today for tomorrow. Some of the things that Miles might have been referencing, I'm not quite sure if he is or not, but investing more in childcare, high quality, affordable early childhood education so that we have all hands on deck, particularly amongst low income households, that everybody is learning ready when they hit school. That we can avoid, as we've heard in the last 24 hours, that we can avoid an epidemic of chronic disease by much of which is preventable. Not just cancer, but oral health, population health interventions of all sorts. We could be using our muscle to actually introduce the things that we know make people healthier, reduce costs, and improve the quality of life. Why aren't we doing that anyway? Thirdly, we could increase opportunities for all by lowering the costs of tuition and doing more training on the job, more on-the-job training. And finally, prevent preventable decline. We should be investing in infrastructure today, not because it's stimulus, but because if we don't do it today, and we do it in 5 years or 10 years, we're going to be paying more down the road and paying more today in lost time and more repairs. What are we waiting for? So why should we do more government spending? This is part of our conversation. Yes, the state is not the only solution to income inequality. Yes, the family is a huge role. And yes, the laws that we have, the way our institutions are structured, are key. The role of unions, but also the role of free trade agreements and all sorts of legislation that empower the already powerful, whether they're corporations or individuals. But that said, we still need a robust government in our lives. We don't need something that's shrinking to the size of something you can flush down the bathtub, which is the goal of some politicians. Slower growth is on the menu. Slower growth is on the menu because we are looking at what the Bank of Canada governor calls serial disappointments in growth, and in particular export growth. But that's not just it. That's starting to collide with population aging. And when you've got a quarter of your population that are seniors, which we will have in 15 years, they have less income and they spend less. So maybe the solution isn't raising G or changing G, which is what Mike was suggesting. Maybe we've got a real systemic problem that we're going to have to start thinking about through some of the lenses that, for example, Eric gave us with ecological economics. Growth is not the only answer. And budget balances, we've got one on the books right now, as if government surpluses and balances are going to save our day. That's nice, but it's not going to make any difference to you and me if the zero on the bottom line doesn't translate to zero deficits in infrastructure, zero problems in people's lives. We need to invest in our communities and our families. I thank you for your interest in being here today, and I'll be listening for your voice.